So hello everybody, back again to your new class on optics. That is, we are going to a new module. So far we have discussed about Fermat's principle, which gives actually a redefinition for the geometrical optics. It was the principle from which we could obtain the laws of reflection and refraction and all. And the another chapter we have studied was polarization, and which was capable of proving the transverse nature of light, and it is very important and interesting topic. And the next one, what we are going to discuss is one of the applications of light, that is holography. And you might be at least heard of the word holography or holograms. Okay, and holography is somewhat related to another term that you are well familiar with. What's that one? Yes, it is photography. And you know what is photography? Photography is a method of obtaining images of objects. And in photography, what are the components that we use basically? We'll be having a lens which focuses the reflected light from a three-dimensional object. And this reflected light is focused onto a photographic film where we obtain the two-dimensional image of the object. We are actually taking the photograph of a three-dimensional object, but what we are getting back is a two-dimensional image of the object. So something new is needed. Okay, we are taking the photograph of a three-dimensional object, means we need the image back in 3D form. Here comes the photography, the holography. And thus holography became a new technique for obtaining the images of objects which was specifically 3D. Right. And the word holography, and what we are going to discuss in this topic is what is holography, what is hologram, what are the properties, what are the working, what is the recording and reconstruction of a hologram, then applications of holography, what is the difference between the holography and photography, what are the advantages and disadvantages of holography, and further we'll move on to conclusion. So what is holography? Holo means what? It is the word taken from Greek hole. Hole means what? It is made up of two words, holos and graph. And holos means hole. Holos means hole and graph means writing. That is hole, and it's shown here hole plus write. Holo means hole and graph means write. Writing completely or getting the information completely is what is meant by the term holography. It is an advanced form of photography that allows an image to be recorded in its three-dimension form. This is very important. It is recorded in 3 dimensions. So holography is a method for producing the visual three-dimensional image of an object by means of light wave patterns recorded as usual in a photographic plate. So normally a question arises in you. So what is the difference? So how come there occurs a difference for photography and holography? What is the physics related to that? Here is the answer. Simply photography is what? It records only the amplitude of the interfering light beams which is coming from the object. And here, as phase is not recorded, a three-dimensional character is lost in photography. In contrast, in holography, it is a method which records both the amplitude of light or the intensity of the light, where intensity is the square of the amplitude, and phase of the light waves are recorded using interferometric techniques. We use both amplitude as well as the phase of the interfering light waves. And both of them is recorded, which gives us a three-dimensional view of our object. So holography is a technique that allows light scattered from an object to be recorded and later reconstructed. The technique to optically store, retrieve and process information. It is some sort of a technique to store an optical information and to process and retrieve the same optical information. And the important thing here is that it preserves the three-dimensional information of the holographed object. So holography is basically what? It is a recording of an interference pattern formed between two coherent beams of light coming from the same source. I'm just make a statement. It is a recording of the interference pattern which is formed between two beams of coherent light coming from the same source. This statement becomes more clear as we move further forward in our class, through our class. So if you're going through the timeline of holography, it was in 1947, Dennis Garber developed the theory of holography. And what is basic necessity for the holography, for recording and reconstruction of holography, was a intense beam of light. During 1947, that intense beam of coherent monochromatic light was absent. And what was that light? It was laser light. And this laser light was fabricated in 1960. And soon after the fabrication of the laser in 1962, white light reflection hologram was constructed or fabricated. And in 1983, you can see the holomarked Mastro cards and all. In our Mastro cards and all, you can see the holo marks, or in many ads and all, it will be given, or ads will be given such that you should buy the products that are having the holo marks. You should buy these products. They are genuine products because they are having the holograms. This is the same holography. And later on, moving forward from 1983, another 93, 2003, 2009 means it is 26 years. Moving 26 years forward, what happened? Interactive holographic displays was developed, and by 2010, development of moving holograms, and by 2020, it's like augmented reality and all we have seen, and it is closely related to holography. Okay. And the three dimensions that are recorded is what? Height, width, and depth of the object. And it's simply called as lensless photography. I cannot name it as simply a three-dimensional photography. Its technique or theory is completely different from photography. Then also we'll call it as a lensless photography. And its important attributes are it produces lifelike images. And who is known as the father of holography and holographic techniques? Dennis Garber. And for his masterpiece work, Dennis Garber, you can see in the inset his picture, and he was later awarded Nobel Prize in Physics in 1971. So, what is simply hologram? A photograph of an interference pattern which, when suitably illuminated by a laser light, produces a three-dimensional image. That's what is basically a hologram is. An interference pattern of some coherent light from the object is what? Is recorded on a holographic plate, and later it is reconstructed with the same beam. And this beam is what? Laser light. And what are the basic properties of holograms or holography? If you look at these holograms from different angles, you can see the object from different perspective. This is what the 3D image means. Just like you would if you were looking at a real object. And another very important attribute or another important property of holography is its divisible property. Do you know what is divisible property? It's like you might have studied divisibility in maths in your early classes. It's not like that. If you cut one of these holograms into two halves, what happens? Holographic plate into two halves. Each of this half contain the whole views of the entire holographic plate. Or if this holographic plate is just broken into 100 pieces, each of these 100 pieces can reconstruct the image which was basically in that single hologram. It is called the divisible property, which is also a very interesting property of hologram. This is what is happening for the divisibility. If this hologram is cut into two, means this also can reconstruct the same image, and the cut piece, this one also can reconstruct the same image. If again we are cutting a small piece out from this cut piece, again it can produce the same image up to infinite times. This is what the divisibility property of the hologram says. So next we'll move to working of hologram. Before that, I'll just discuss the principle of holography. And this principle of holography involves basically two stages. First one is what? The recording of hologram, and the second one is what? The reconstruction of the hologram and reconstruction of the image from the hologram. In holography, some of light scattered from the object falls on a recording media. That same is happening in the case of photography also. Light from the object is falling on the recording photographic plate. In the case of holography, one more new thing is there. A second source of light beam. And this beam is known as reference beam. And you can see here object beam, which is light coming from the object. And another beam which is called the reference beam, also illuminates the medium. So that the interference occur between this object image coming, I mean the light coming from the object and the light coming in the reference light. And the interference occurs between these two light, producing what? Interference pattern, and which is recorded on the holographic medium. The resulting light field generates random pattern of varying intensity, which is recording in the medium, giving rise to hologram. And when this hologram is again illuminated with the same reference beam, original reference beam, the reference beam, what happens? The diffracted light field will be what? Will gives you the image. Or I'll say when the hologram is illuminated by the original reference beam, the reference beam is diffracted by the hologram to produce the diffracted light field, which is identical to the light field which was scattered by the object. That means it will produce the image of the object when the hologram is illuminated by the recorded hologram is illuminated by the what? The reference beam. Thus, someone looking into a hologram sees the object even though it is not longer present. If the hologram is illuminated by the same laser reference light which was used to record the hologram, what happens? You can see the image of which was recorded in it even though there was no real image in it. And in Gerber's original experiments, the reference beam and beam scattered from the object were coaxial. That I'll discuss later. Further advancements was made by Leith and Upanithiks and all, and they made off-axis holography. Okay, so what are the basic things or requirements needed for recording and reconstruction of an hologram? Laser light is needed, and basically generally helium neon laser, which is not so costly and which is a commonly used laser, and it is used for the purpose. And what happens? The light from the laser is split by using a beam splitter device that uses mirrors and prisms to split the light beam into two. And the first one is called the object beam and the second one is called the reference beam. And mirrors are used for directing the beams of light to correct locations. And holographic film is used to record the image of very high resolution. And this image can be seen with the naked eyes, and we feel as if the image is floating in the free space. So now let us look what happens while we are recording a hologram. To construct a hologram, we have to take a broad laser beam, which is basically a helium neon laser. And what happens? Here there is a beam expander, and here there is lens, and passing through the lens, what happens? Here there is a beam splitter which split the light into two, and one of the light rays passes to the mirror here, and it is what? Focused, or it is made to this light wave is made to fall on the object. And what happens? The object reflects the light back into the holographic or photographic plate. And again there is one more light, the beam splitter split the incident light into two. Here there is one more mirror which focuses the light directly into photographic plate, and this is called the reference wave. And the other one, this one is called the object wave, light coming from the object. This one is the object wave, and here you can see in the figure this wave which is reflected from the laser to the beam splitter to the mirror, which is actually the basic light wave itself. Okay, so what happens? The two waves, the reference wave and the object wave reaching the photographic plate undergo constructive and destructive superposition to form the interference pattern. Okay. And next question is, what is the nature of the light? And the beam of light which is scattered from the object, it will be scattered in all directions. So what happens? The light coming from the object will be actually a spherical wave. It will be having a spherical symmetry. If this is the object, what happens? Light is falling on the object in all direction and it scatters the light in all direction. So this problem will have a spherical symmetry in sense, if you're just drawing a sphere, the light rays passes through all points of the sphere. That means I can represent the light wave by a spherical wave. And the reference beam, what happens? Reference beam is an intense coherent beam and it is only unidirectional. It is not scattered along all the directions as does the object wave does. So what happens? It is basically a plane wave. So the reference wave is a plane wave, but the object wave is a spherical wave. And both this plane wave and spherical wave, but actually both are coming from the same source, and laser source is a coherent source. So what happens? The light derived from this laser will be coherent source, but only there will be a difference in its nature. The first light, the reference light is a plane wave and the object wave is a spherical wave. And what happens? And this light gets superposed at the photographic plate to form the interference pattern. And this interference patterns are a series of rings. And the developed negative of the interference pattern is called the negative of the interference pattern is called the hologram. The developed negative of this interference pattern. And hologram is actually not the image of the object as we get from the photograph. It is not the image of the object. Hologram is not the image of the object, but it carries information about the intensity and phase of the image. It carries both information about the intensity and phase. It is not the image, but it carries information about the amplitude and phase of the light wave reflected from each point of the object. So next question is, how you are going to reconstruct the image from a hologram. Okay, how you are going to reconstruct the image from the hologram. So this slide was just like discussing about the recording of the hologram. So next slide is reconstruction of image. Here it is given recording of the hologram. So next one is reconstruction of the image. So hologram, this is the hologram. It does not give the image of the object directly, but it contains information about the phase and intensity of the image. For reconstructing the image from a hologram, what happens? It has to be illuminated with a parallel beam of light, which was the original reference laser beam which was used. And this reference beam, when hit the holographic plate, most of the light passes through the hologram. Since the fringe pattern in the hologram act as a diffraction grating, part of the light will be diffracted, the rest of the light will be transmitted. And this diffracted rays from the images, and this diffracted rays, what happens? The light which is diffracted from this hologram forms the virtual image, and you can see in the figure two images will be the virtual image will be formed here and the real image will be formed here. This diffracted image forms the two images. Diffracted light forms the virtual image and real image. The virtual image is formed at the same location of the it occupies the position which was earlierly occupied by the object. The virtual image is formed at the same location formerly occupied by the object when it was photographed. The real image is formed in front of the hologram. The virtual image here formed is for viewing. If someone is looking at the hologram in this way, you can see the virtual image here. So as if you are looking through the hologram, the image, as if you are looking through the hologram, you have feeling that this virtual image is inside this hologram. The virtual image is for viewing, and other one real image can be photographed. By viewing the virtual image, one can feel the 3D effect, and we can perceive the image as if we are looking at the real object, and you'll have a feel that you are looking at the real three-dimensional object. Since the image is seen by looking through the hologram, and yes, looking at the image by looking through the hologram, it is called what? Transmission hologram. And this hologram is called transmission hologram. Okay. And I'll discuss one more portion, like two types of images are formed. And what happens? The real image is known as the pseudoscopic image, and you can see the name here, pseudoscopic. And the virtual image formed is known as orthoscopic image. Okay, orthoscopic image is the virtual image, and pseudoscopic image is the real image. Okay, and holography is basically of two types, and you might have understood what is holography, what is recording of hologram, and what is reconstruction of hologram. Recording is this one, and for reconstruction the same reference wave or the wave which is identical to the reference wave with same amplitude and intensity have to be used. And the real image is pseudoscopic image, and the virtual image is orthoscopic image. And the holography which was put forward by Dennis Gabor was actually coaxial holography. The original technique adopted by Gabor for recording the hologram was a coaxial arrangement, where he made use of a mercury discharge lamp and collinear object and reference beam. Collinear means what? Object beam, reference beam, everything lies in a same line. And you can see the reference beam here. And along the path of the reference beam, an object was placed. And this was actually the schematic diagram of the hologram, which was produced by Dennis Gabor, the first one who fabricated, or the one who is known as the father of holography. And a laser light was intense laser light was allowed to fall on an object. And what happens? This is a plane wave, and what happens? Once the laser light falls on the object, it scatters the light in all directions, and it becomes, the light scattered from the object becomes a spherical wave, and both are along a same line. So this is the recording in a coaxial holography, and this is a reconstruction. Again, we are hitting the hologram, or incidenting the hologram means with a reference light, and you can form the virtual image here, and you can diffracted rays form the real image here. So what is the problem with this sort of coaxial holography? When you are looking from here, what you can see, both the real image and virtual image, by adjusting our lenses and all. So it is very difficult to identify between the real image and virtual image. So later, the off-axis holography means this is the pattern. They will use beam splitters, mirrors and all, and object is at a different position, and the reference beam is again at a different position. They are not along a same line. So the first holography put forward was coaxial holography. It was having a lot of advantages, as the observer focusing on one image always sees it is accompanied by an image which is out of focus. If you are focusing on virtual image, you can see real image also, and if you are focusing on real image, you can see virtual image. So for avoiding that limitation, the off-axis holography was put forward in 1962 by Leith and Upatnik, and where the object was kept at some offset angle, another position other than the reference wave. So you could get both the images which are not coaxial. So hope you understood what is holography, what are the properties of hologram, what are the attributes or features of hologram, how you're going to record a hologram and reconstruct a hologram, what is the difference between holography and photography and all. So hope you have understood all these questions. You just write down all the answer to these questions and all. After the next class, I'll give you some home assignments related to these topics. Okay, so thank you. In the next class, we'll discuss about the theory and application of holography. So hope you have understood. And this specific topic, holography, is very interesting. So you can go through or explore further. So thank you.